Dragon Age the Veilguard is trying very hard to get into its audience's good graces, as it should be. It makes a lot of sense. They released a breakdown recently of how the PC version of the game will work in terms of features. They were quick to say it will have features like DLSS and FSR day one, and they've been saying that they tested the game with like 200,000 hours of performance testing. They've done tens of thousands of hours of testing on their UI, pushed a lot of research into making sure that the experience with that is perfect. HDR support, ultra-wide, and at least as far as I'm aware, for the first time in many horribly garbage EA app years, they're removing the requirement for their app and making their games Steam native. So they've been doing a lot, all of which are welcome improvements. For me personally, they go a long way for telling me that this is something that they're finally reading the room. They're finally understanding that their goodwill has run out. It just has. And it really has. It really has, let's be honest. Even for massive BioWare fans like myself, I have to acknowledge that they've never been in a worse place in terms of popular perception, except maybe after the release of, a couple of these games, like Anthem was a massive failure. Mass Effect Andromeda was a blunder of poor marketing, not enough animation QA, things like that, and they've clearly gone an extra step in assuring us that none of this will be the case with Dragon Age the Veilguard. But will it be enough? Is it going to be enough for people? For some people, the answer will be no. They've already made up their minds not to buy the latest game from BioWare, and I can't really blame them. They've already made a huge blunder in marketing again with the trailer that they showed earlier this year. A series of big missteps hasn't given these people the confidence that BioWare can come back from it, and people are right to be skeptical. But at the same time, I actually really enjoyed Mass Effect Andromeda, and I firmly believe that it's a good game still, despite some very clear flaws that the game never should have launched with. It also suffered from marketing failures, like if you have a separate studio that makes a game for a beloved franchise, you can't market the game as being the same as the other games up until then. You just can't do that. You have to be honest with your fans. Tell them that this will be something different, and I don't think they went far enough in informing people and, making sure that they knew this is a new team, this isn't going to be the same perfectly polished thing, although Mass Effect 3, but especially when the development is also marred by a lot of issues. You need to balance expectations. Despite all of that, Dragon Age the Veilguard could be a good game, and in fact, it could be a great game. But again, I ask, is that enough? And I'm not really sure. I'm not sure if being great is good enough. Dragon Age means a lot of different things to a lot of different people at this point, and there are those who really enjoyed Dragon Age Inquisition, and there are those who didn't. There are those who only like Dragon Age Origins and refuse to play anything that isn't within the hardcore CRPG grouping that they feel Dragon Age Origins is. They really hated Dragon Age 2. I thought it was actually pretty good. And then there's people like me who just want a good story within a dark fantasy universe and really don't care that much how it's delivered as long as it's fun. It's been a pretty long time since the last game in the series, in the Dragon Age series. It's been over a decade since Dragon Age Inquisition, for people who don't realize that. I know, we're old now. It's a sad thing. Gaming is a different space now, with a ton of different options for people who enjoy RPGs and fantasy games, and the indie scene has blossomed more than ever before. Larian has risen to prominence and has frankly evolved to a place where it dominates the competition in the same space that BioWare used to claim for its own. They aren't the only studio anymore who can do that signature combination of cinematic storytelling, romance, action, choice, all of these things. That means they're no longer top dog leading the pack, but instead they're chasing the leaders. That means it won't be enough to rely on the success of the past. Success hasn't been associated with BioWare for a long time now. It won't be enough to just be a good game. because EA probably expects them to sell a ton of copies, millions and millions and millions. So it not only has to be great, but it also has to overcome negative perception from fans that have been burned by recent games from BioWare. And really, it's a problem of their own making, in my opinion, a problem of EA's making, because surely they gave BioWare the mandate to create games as a service, and that's something that we actually heard a little bit about from a developer close to them. And they probably pushed the Andromeda developers to push out the game before it was ready. I can't imagine them seeing some of the animations there and being like, oh yeah, no, it's okay. It's okay to push that out. Do I personally think they can rise above all of that and make a game that I will be satisfied with? Yeah, I do, actually. For me, this is probably their last chance to do so, and I'll of course be waiting for reviews to come out, as I think most people should. Don't just run out there and buy the game pre-purchase or anything. But I do think there is a way forward for BioWare, but we have to acknowledge they aren't the BioWare of over a decade ago. Some people from that development team are still there, but there are a lot of new faces, so we have to accept that this will be something different, something new, and hope for the best and hope that it's something great, but it may not be what everyone is looking for. So what do you think? Do you think BioWare is going to push through, make something great again? Let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching.